So I've had this 20 long sitting here empty with nothing in it, and it is time to fill it up and put some fish in here. I'm going with pea puffers. It's gonna be a pea puffer only tank. Well, actually I'm gonna put shrimp in there too, but fish wise, pea puffers only, and that's what I'm working on today. All right, so I'm gonna start off by putting down this rubber mat on the inside. All that dirt you see there, that's on the underside of the tank. It's not in the tank, so don't worry about that. But I do have a really big rock I wanna put in here, and I'm worried about the weight. So this pad should hopefully help out a little bit. And we're gonna put this gigantic rock in here. The glass on a 20 long is not the thickest, which is why I'm using the rubber mat. We're gonna slide this into the corner. And I wanna put this in here to try to add a little depth. I'm gonna put a little rock pile right here and maybe some wood coming down it. I'm not really sure. I'm just gonna see how it goes. I'm kind of ad-libbing this like all my tanks, so it should be kind of interesting to see how it ends up. Now I'm gonna fill in the back here with just some 1/4 inch pea gravel. This is out of my old puffer tank. So if you see some snail shells in there, there's one there. That is why, and I just wanna fill in the cracks. I don't know why there's a sponge in here. This is what I use to sponge off the nastiness off the glass. Wondering where that went. There it is, that should fit in here just fine. All right, and then I'm also gonna put a layer down on the bottom too. I plan on capping this gravel with sand, but I wanted a level of gravel down here just to kind of help with roots. It's easier for the roots to spread in gravel than sand. I'm not anti-sand for planted tanks by any means, but I just like this method. It's what I prefer. Now this is old substrate. I did rinse it for a while, but I kind of got bored of that. So it's still a little dirty, but it should be okay. Again, we're gonna cap it with sand. And now I gotta find some more rocks for this side over here. All right, so this is 1,000 layer stone. I've had it sitting around for a long time, and I'm just gonna go with it. I haven't found a use for it yet, and I don't know that I like it. Like, well, I obviously like it. I don't know if I love it, but that's what I'm gonna go with here. And just kind of randomly spread these around and see what I can make happen. So I've been messing with these 6 rocks for some time now, and this is what I'm going with. I keep moving it and looking at different ways to do it, and it's just at this point become quite the time sink. So I'm leaving it as in, and now I'm gonna add some wood to kind of come down this area here and see how that looks. All right, here is my twigs. Here is my twigs. All right, here are my twigs, and I'm just going to kind of start with the biggest pieces here and move my way down to the smaller pieces, kind of just nudging them in wherever I can get them. They will come out the top a little bit. These are pea puffers. Not too worried about them jumping out, so I'm not going to be using a top on this tank. All right. Gonna rinse and repeat this a few times, and just gonna rinse these off here. These have been outside for a while. Checking back in, this is what I've got so far. Still got a few more twigs. This tank is like 6 feet off the ground. I'm using a step stool. It makes it hard to film and do this all by myself. No B-roll of me actually doing it. Just gonna get kind of step-by-step updates as I go. All right, here we are. I'm really liking the way this looks. Like I said, I wanted the twigs to be kind of cascading down the rocks there, and wouldn't you know, they are. However, they're not very secure. So next step is super glue. We're going to glue all of these in place so they don't move on me. And this is gonna be quite tedious. This is just regular old super glue. And this should take me just a couple seconds here. All right, I think I got everything super glued down. We're gonna wait for it to cure. Fun fact, if you didn't know, super glue cures pretty instantly when it comes in contact with water. So we're just gonna wet this and help it cure a little faster. This will be my first time using super glue on hardscape. I've done it to super glue plants to hardscape, but to actually get everything to stay where I want it. This is my first time doing it, so hopefully it turns out all right. It's always fun experimenting. Hope I don't just level this thing later when I add sand, which I'm going to be doing here in a little bit once I feel confident that this is secure. Everything is holding up pretty good. Now, I don't like the white spots the super glue leaves, but as the plants grow in, it should cover that. I also try to be a little discreet and like put it behind, so when you're looking in front, you can't see the white patches. But overall, really liking how this is going. Now it's time to cap this with some sand. Now this is sand out of an old tank as well. Oops, just fell off the ladder. And I did rinse this, hopefully better than I rinsed the gravel. Just gonna dump it in here like so. This is my new favorite sand from Home Depot. The unfortunate part is they don't list it on their website, but it's just a 100-pound bag of medium cement sand, something like that. Sand is in, and now we just gotta, oh, I can't spread it around with my hands. That's not how you do it. Apparently you gotta use one of these fancy tools, as I've seen in videos, because apparently fingers don't work as good as one of these fancy little tools, I guess. I don't know. I gotta say, it seems to be taking quite a bit longer. I could have just used my fingers.
That's what she said.
I'm actually a little light on sand. That's all right. I'm not really going for a deep sand. Oh my gosh, I just saw duckweed. Look at that right there. Now I need a duckweed removal tool. This sand has been in this bucket in the sun for like a month, and this duckweed is still just green as can be. Like, how? This stuff and cockroaches are going to be the only thing to survive the apocalypse. Oh my gosh. I'm not even going to worry about it right now. All right, now I'm going to fill this up all the way. So just as I suspected, it's nice and murky. That's kind of what you get when you use used substrate. I only lost one piece of wood, which is nice. It was the one that ran down the side here. So I'm going to let this sit overnight and clear up. I'll come back tomorrow to drop some plants in, see how it looks when it's clear. I do have a couple of tissue cultures here I'm going to use. And then I also have, for the twigs over here, some Bucephalandra needle leaf. I've got a couple of these. I got these from the Aquarium Co-op, and it'll be interesting to try those. Not a lot of people are familiar with tissue culture, so we can talk about that a little bit as well. I personally love tissue culture. Come back tomorrow or in a couple seconds, and I'll explain why. All right, so it's been about actually a week. I know I said I was gonna come in here the next day, but life gets in the way. The tank is looking really good though. Just means it's gonna be extra cycled. And if you missed our live stream a couple weeks ago, we had Stephen P on there, and he said he would send me some plants, and he has. And I'm hoping to use some of these in this scape, because he sent me some crypts and some hydro and bacopa. So this is probably one of my all-time favorite plants. And
That's a lot.
yeah, this is a lot more than I thought it would be.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
Here we have another species of hydro, 2 species.
This is exciting.
I've never kept sunset, so that'll be fun. Here we go. Crypt Rosen Maiden and Crypt Ponterdifolia. Whatever. That's how I think too. That's what I think too on that crypt. And then we have some Crypt Tropica, which is nice, and some more hydro. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to put all the crypts over here, and I'm still going to use the boost here, the needle leaf boost on the twigs here, and then we're going to have a crypt carpet right here. So I've decided to go with the Crypt Tropica, and the reason behind that is hopefully we can use it to hide the sponge filter here. So I'm just going to dig down these roots and make sure that it's in the gravel as well. Alright, so we got that in the corner here, and the goal is to use the Crypt Tropica to hide the sponge filter. Now, most likely what's going to happen is all these leaves are going to probably fall off and melt back a little bit and then regrow new leaves, which is pretty typical for crypts, or can be. Here we have the Rosen Maiden, which I'm going to put over here and get it a little more by the rocks here. Got a couple sprigs of it. So we got the Tropica in the corner here, the Rose and Maiden here in the middle. Now we got to get the boost ready. I got to get this algae out of here. Real quick, we don't need that starting anything we don't want. So let's get the boost ready and we can talk about tissue culture plants. So here's a nice full cup of boost, and it's been in here for about 3 or 4 months now. So it's actually attached to the plastic. I don't know if you could tell there, but it's a little difficult to pull out of there. Don't mind the mess on the floor. We're doing a project here, and you just get a lot of this stuff if you let it sit for a while. If you're patient and let it grow out in the cup, you can get big clumps like this and then just separate it. I'm going to try to get this in there without using super glue, but if I have to use super glue, I will. All right, so here's my clumps of boost out of my tissue culture. We've got it all separated. So one of the reasons I really like tissue culture, especially with boost, is a lot of boost is harvested from the wild, and it's kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of a catch-22 for me, as in there's people that are providing for their families by selling it and collecting it, or collecting it and selling it, same thing. But they're also, you know, taking mass amounts from riverbanks, and it's just not good for the environment. And so that's why I like to buy boost, specifically in tissue culture. The other really nice thing about all tissue cultures is obviously they're grown in a lab in a sterile environment, so you don't get any type of diseases, so you don't have to worry about introducing nasty stuff into your aquarium. And obviously, you know, this is not a plus for me because I really don't care about getting snails in my tank. But if you are anti-snail, then again, tissue culture is going to be the way to go. So we're going to try a few pieces up here coming out of the water, and that will allow it to capture more CO2 out of the air than obviously from in the water. So we'll see how that does. I've never tried to grow boost like this, but I think it'll work out pretty well. So again, I've been holding on to these for about 3, maybe even 4 months. So if you get some tissue culture, this is probably not a normal size, but that is one of the advantages. If you're patient, or in my case, lazy and just don't plant them, you can get a really nice big clump. And the other nice thing is the gel that's inside actually liquefies over time, making it a lot easier. I don't even have to clean this at all. There's no gel on here anywhere. There's these little balls here, which I believe are probably fertilizer balls, but I don't quote me on that 100%. So the first cup I really split in to a lot of smaller pieces. This one I'm just going to keep some large chunks. But to recap for you, tissue culture, good, disease-free, snail-free, and we're not just destroying entire riverbanks to get some boost. Obviously, not all plants are that way. Specifically why I say I like boost and tissue culture, because I know I'm not a part of that. Now I shouldn't have to use super glue. They should stay because pea puffers aren't going to mess with this. But I really like how this looks. I think it turned out pretty dang good. Oh, the glare is so bad. So bad. But we got one more step before we add the pea puffers, and that's our root tabs. We're going to sink a couple of those in for the crypts here, and obviously not for the boost, but we will be fertilizing this tank as well. So sometimes when you plant these root tabs, they'll kind of expand and float up on you. So a neat little trick you can do is just take a razor blade and cut little slits in it, and that prevents any of that from happening, and it works really great. It's such an easy step. And don't be alarmed if your razor blade is rusty. Fun little fact, back in the day, that's how the old timers used to add iron to their tanks, as they would put nails in the substrate and let them rust. So rust is not really that bad for your aquarium, in small amounts obviously. I'm probably going to add more after the first water change, but right now I'm just going to put one root tab in each little clump here, and I don't have any real reason for that. It's just what I like to do, so I'm not bombarding the tank with nutrients and getting a ton of algae. Probably doesn't really matter, but that's just how I do it. There we go. I missed getting that one on film, but you can see it's all disturbed. I already got one in there. That was kind of a little mess as I uprooted all of this, getting the root tab in there. Pretty typical. All right, now I got to grab the pea puffers, and we're almost done. All right, so I've got my little cup of pea puffers here. I believe there's 7 of them in here, 6, 7, or 8, I don't know. I have more. I'm just splitting up my colony. I don't want to dump them all in here at once in case something goes wrong. I'd rather be safe than sorry. But let's release the puffers into their new palace. Woo, look at that glare. Awesome. And there they go. Again, this is going to be a pea puffer only tank. I might add some Pygmaeus corridoras eventually, but for now, It's going to be all peas, and it's going to make maintenance really easy because they're not going to make a lot of waste. I won't have to do a lot of water changes. We're going to let them settle in though. We'll give them probably overnight, and then I'll come back and feed them tomorrow. They are just the cutest little guys in the world. So this is how I'm gonna leave it for a while. I'll let these crypts melt back if they do, if not even better. But if they do, I'll let them grow back in and then see how it looks and maybe add some more plants. But I like it wide open like this. And I'll probably add some more pea puffers in a week or two. They do like to be in large groups. I'd like to get about 20 of them in here. We did sex them. We have 1 female, the rest are males. So 6 males, 1 female. Will they spawn? I don't know. I'm not an expert on spawning pea puffers, but if they do, that'd be kind of neat. I'm really liking just the overall look. It's gonna be really easy to maintain since, I mean, look how small they are. They're not gonna produce a lot of waste. As you can also see, I've already got snail egg sacs on the glass here. Those guys are gonna have a bad time when they hatch out, but you know, free food, can't argue with that. Also, real quick for lighting, I'm just using a standard par 38 bulb that I got off of Amazon, pretty generic. And the reason I'm using that instead of an actual aquarium light is eventually I would like to put some pothos or something, some kind of vine across the back there and just let it kind of grow down the sides, and it'll need light for that. So yeah, I figured I'd just hang a bulb up there and see how it works. We're obviously getting plenty of light in here, so not too worried about it. These are also low light plants, so not a big deal. The boost that's coming out seems to be doing okay. It's been there for a couple days now, so we'll keep monitoring that, make sure that goes well. But other than that, I think we're done for now. Well, if you made it to the end, I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, a huge thank you to Stephen P for sending me some plants. He is on YouTube. I'll have his channel linked down below. If you're interested in planted tanks or aquariums in general, I highly recommend it. Very, very knowledgeable and just a good guy. So go check him out. If you're interested in getting some puffers for yourself, it's definitely important to start with healthy stock. And that's why I work with Dan's Fish and the West Spot Tropical Fish. I have codes for them down below. But well, with all fish, really, you want to start with healthy stock, but specifically puffers. They can be a bit tricky, and they both do a really good job with puffers, so I highly recommend them. Check them out down below. I'll have links for you, and you'll get a little bit of a discount as well. Next up, I'm going to be working on a 33-gallon long. We did a poll on the channel, and Shell Dwellers won the poll. So it's going to be a 33 long Shell Dweller tank, so be sure to subscribe, hit the like, leave a comment, and we'll see you on the next one.